Did you know that in the neurological population, the sit-to-stand exercise or functional movement is such an important movement because it allows people to get out of the bed and transfer themselves onto a chair. So today we will be exploring the phases and the strategies to work on sit-to-stands. Welcome guys to Basically Physio. Do press the like button and subscribe. So in a functional movement of sit-to-stand, there are 4 components or phases. These 4 phases are the flexion momentum phase, the momentum transfer phase, the extension phase, and lastly the stabilization phase. Here's a visual diagram of how it looks like. In the first phase, the flexion momentum phase, the start of this phase is when the trunk and pelvis rotates anteriorly, and the end of this phase is when the tie-off happens off the chair. The main aim of this phase is to generate upper body momentum to prepare for the next phase. The second phase, the momentum transfer phase, the start of this is when the tie-off is happening, and the end of this phase is when the maximum dorsiflexion at the ankles has been achieved. The aim of this phase is to transfer the momentum generated in the first phase into an upward and anterior movement. In the third phase, the extension phase, the start of this phase is when the maximum dorsiflexion of the ankles has been happening, and the end of it is when the hip and knees have fully extended. The aim of this phase is to extend at the hips and the knees. Lastly, the stabilization phase, the start of it is when the hip extension velocity is at 0, and the end of this phase is when stabilization has happened. The main aim is to maintain stability when standing. So the importance of knowing these phases is that when a sit-to-stand is not happening for your patients or your clients, then it is good to observe the movement fully and analyze and see which of these phases is lacking. And from there, you can actually look into some exercise they can do for each of these phases. So with that, we are actually going to look at some common issues that happen in a sit-to-stand and try to identify which of these phases might be having the issue at. The first common one is asymmetry in the weight bearing. What this means is that one of the foot is further in front and one of the foot is further behind. Usually the further in front foot is the weaker foot, and patients or clients, their bodies are quite smart and they will try to do this type of movement so that they can perform a sit-to-stand properly. The issue is that this movement may not be very efficient, and after a few repetitions the weakness will be very prominent and this might actually lead to falls. One way to correct this is that you can increase the height of the chair or where they are standing up from, and then position both the feet on the same level and then continue to do a sit-to-stand. This will make it a bit more easier, and then subsequently you can lower the height of the chair or the platform that they are standing up from. Next common thing that happens is that there is not enough trunk flexion in the sit-to-stand. When this happens, the flexion momentum is not generated, and this will cause the patient to not be able to stand up efficiently. And one of the common ways to train this is to get them to reach forward further and also practice it in a functional movement whereby the trunk is bending forward by your facilitation and then faster moving into the momentum transfer phase and extension phase. Another way to approach this is you can break it up into a sitting balance and dynamic sitting balance activity whereby you train the trunk to reach in various directions, especially in the forward direction, and subsequently combining it with a sit-to-stand movement. And that's the end of the video today, and if you have stuck till the end, thank you, and do consider to subscribe and hit the like button if you found this information useful. Thank you.